Currently, 7 Palestinians have been killed in a fresh attack carried out by the Israeli army in the West Bank's Jenin area. It's being described as the biggest Israeli army operation in the occupied West Bank in years. Israel's Foreign Minister Eli Cohen claimed that the Israeli forces forcibly struck a terror hub in the area of Jenin. And according to the Palestinian Health Ministry, one person was killed while another got seriously injured. During a nighttime operation, the Israeli military said it launched a counter-terrorism effort in an area heavily inhabited by large refugee camps. While striking a terrorist infrastructure in Jenin, the Israeli army said it had struck a resident's house as well. And according to the Israeli military, the target functioned as an advanced observation and reconnaissance center and also weapons and explosives site. It also acted as a coordination and communication hub for the militant fighters. The Israeli army provided an aerial photograph showing the target and its exact location, where it happened to be about near 2 schools and a medical center. In the first drone strike in the West Bank since 2006, Israel killed 3 militant gunmen near Jenin last month. Citing an increase in violence across the region, Israeli forces have conducted regular raids in the area where Palestinian groups, including the Hamas, have hundreds of armed fighters. Our correspondent Jody Cohen is joining us live from Israel for the very latest on this. And Jody, what more can you tell us about these latest raids in the West Bank?
Hi, Baravi. So the Israel Defense Forces have said that they've launched a wide-scale effort against terror in Jenin. They've specifically said that this isn't an operation against the Palestinian Authority, but against terror groups. And these comments come following high-level calls that took place last week between Israel and the Palestinian Authority, in which they reportedly talk about the need to fight terror and to calm tensions. But the spokesperson for the Palestinian Authority, President Abbas, called this operation a war crime. Abbas has called for an urgent meeting of the Palestinian leadership. And Islamic Jihad said that their members opened fire on Israeli troops, and the Palestinian Health Ministry in the latest tally has suggested that 8 Palestinians are being killed. Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh said that what happens in Jenin will determine the next stage. And the IDF is reportedly, and they've sent messages to Hamas and Islamic Jihad in Gaza, saying that the operation is limited to Jenin and that they shouldn't intervene. But the IDF is reportedly preparing for the possibility of rocket fire coming from Gaza. Jordan, in the meantime, has called on the international community to intervene.
Right. Jody, stay with us. There's, of course, more news from Israel, and protests against the Israeli government's proposal for judicial overhaul has gained further momentum, and demonstrations have now entered the 26th week. There are now signs that as thousands of protesters have gathered across the country on Saturday afternoon, leaders announced that demonstrations will be intensified in the coming week, with extra protests scheduled to take place today at the Ben Gurion airport. And according to protest organizers, over 200,000 people came out to protest. And last Saturday, 150,000 people were present at the Kaplan Junction in Tel Aviv. Demonstrations against the effort to remake the judicial system gathered renewed steam over the past week as the coalition government advanced a bill to curtail judicial oversight over the government's decisions.
Everything continues to move. They try to pass each day new laws that will limit our civil rights. And this concerns everyone in the country. It hurts Jews, it hurts Arabs, it hurts students, it hurts workers, and we're trying to stop it. And they try to do something horrible every day, and so far the protests are successful in holding them back. And we don't know what is going to happen in the future, but we fight for a home.
Well, in addition to the detention of a number of prominent protesters this week, it was reported that an official task force will also be set up to look at anti-government comments as well. All of this, of course, is part of the protests against the judicial overhaul of the Netanyahu government. And Jody continues to be with us. And Jody will talk to us about the timing of the operation. Comes on the same day as the blockade that has been planned at the airport by Israeli protesters against the coalition's judicial reforms. What's the impact likely to be of the operation on the airport protests?
So the operation in Jenin, as you said, comes on the same day as the protesters against the government's judicial reforms are planning to blockade Israel's main airport in just under 2 hours from now. Now, this follows the Brothers in Arms protest group blockading Israel's main seaport in Haifa on Monday. The protest leaders support the operation in Jenin, they say, but they said they wouldn't cancel the blockade of the airport this evening unless the government cancelled today's discussion in Parliament on the judicial reforms, which didn't happen. And we're hearing that Simcha Rothman, the chair of Parliament's Justice Committee, is aiming to try to get the limited bill that the government is talking about now on the reasonableness issue. He's trying to get that through this week through the committee stage, just to get committee approval of that revised bill. Now, Yair Lapid, who's the head of the opposition, he says he supports the operation in Jenin, but he also supports the position of the protesters not to cancel this blockade of Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv.
Right, Jody, thanks very much indeed for joining us with the very latest on those protests against the judicial reforms as well as the drone attacks in West Bank by the Israeli government.